Artificial intelligence. You hear that term everywhere these days, right? But behind all the hype, all the talk about thinking robots and crazy sci-fi movies, what is it really? In this explainer, we're going to cut through the noise and separate the science from the fiction.
You know, it's so easy to get wrapped up in that science fiction vision of AI, these thinking, feeling machines that might one day, take over. But the reality is actually way more grounded, and in a lot of ways, much more interesting.
The simple truth is, AI isn't magic. It's a really fascinating field of computer science. And it's not some far-off futuristic idea. It has already woven itself into our everyday lives, often in ways you probably don't even notice. So to really understand what's going on with AI, we have to start with a clear definition. Let's peel back all the layers of hype and get right to the core of it. Okay, at its heart, AI is really just the science of building systems that can do things that, until pretty recently, required a human brain. The goal isn't to create a consciousness or feelings, but to replicate intelligent behaviors. Things like learning from experience or figuring out a puzzle. To put it another way, you can think of an AI as, well, as an agent. Its job is to sense the world around it, maybe through a camera or a microphone, or just by looking at data online, and then take specific actions to get closer to a goal we've given it. Now, while AI feels like it just burst onto the scene, its roots actually go back decades. And let me tell you, its journey has been a total roller coaster, with these huge waves of optimism followed by some pretty serious periods of doubt. Believe it or not, the field was officially born way back in 1956. The early days were full of excitement, but it turned out the problems they were trying to solve were just way harder than anyone imagined. That led to these long periods called AI winters, where progress stalled and funding just dried up. But then everything changed around 2012. It was like a perfect storm of way more powerful computers and just enormous amounts of data. That sparked what we call the deep learning revolution, and that breakthrough is what led directly to the generative AI boom we're all seeing today. So how does an AI actually work? I mean, if we're not programming every single tiny decision, how does it figure out what to do? Well, the answer is in this fundamental shift from writing rules to learning from data. Early AI was kind of like a super strict recipe. Programmers had to sit down and write out these if this, then that rules for every single possible situation. It was rigid, and it totally fell apart if it saw something new. Modern AI, especially a field inside it called machine learning, is totally different. Instead of giving it a recipe, we give it the whole cookbook, just massive amounts of data, and it learns to recognize the patterns on its own. It's more like a chef who can improvise a new dish after tasting thousands of others. So the process basically looks something like this. First, you feed the system a ton of data, let's say thousands of pictures of cats. Next, the system analyzes all those pictures to find the patterns that scream cat, pointy ears, whiskers, that sort of thing. Then you show it a brand new photo, and it makes a prediction. Yep, that's a cat, or nope, not a cat. And here's the crucial part. With feedback, it gets better and better and better over time. And this ability to learn from data is what has allowed AI to move out of the research lab and become this quiet but incredibly powerful force in our everyday lives. But to really understand it, there's one more really important distinction we need to make. Okay, this is key. Everything we have today is what we call narrow AI. It's an expert at one specific thing, whether that's recommending a movie or playing chess or translating a sentence. The AI you see in the movies, often called artificial general intelligence or AGI, that's a totally different concept. That would be a system that could reason and learn across all sorts of different fields, just like a human can. For now, that is still just a hypothetical long-term goal. Just think about your day so far. I can almost guarantee you've used AI. That quick search you did, AI ranked the results. The show Netflix suggested you'd love, AI predicted that. Unlocking your phone with your face, asking Siri for the weather, seeing an ad for something you were just talking about, all of that is powered by specialized, narrow AI systems humming away behind the scenes. All right, now that we have a better sense of the reality of AI, let's start tackling some of the most common myths. Because with any powerful new technology, it's just so easy for misunderstandings and fears to spread. This is the big one, isn't it? The fear of some evil superintelligence, straight out of a movie. And look, it's a compelling story, but it often distracts us from the very real and honestly more subtle challenges that AI is presenting to us right now, today. So let's reframe the conversation. The myth is that AI thinks or has feelings. The reality? It's a very sophisticated pattern-matching tool. It's not self-aware. Another big myth is that AI is perfectly objective. The reality is, an AI is only as good as the data we train it on. If that data has human biases in it, the AI will learn and can even amplify those biases. And finally, the biggest risks right now aren't robot armies. They're much more immediate issues like misinformation spreading like wildfire, the impact on jobs, and major concerns about our data privacy. And this is a really crucial limitation to remember. An AI might be able to write a beautiful poem about sadness, but it doesn't feel sad. It can't truly understand the subtle context of a human conversation, and it can't apply that giant web of common sense that we humans use to navigate the world without even thinking about it. At the end of the day, it's a tool, not a teammate. So, after breaking down the definitions, the history, and the myths, what's the big picture here? What should we take away from all this? It really boils down to this. Artificial intelligence is one of the most powerful tools our species has ever created. It's a branch of science built on data and algorithms, designed to solve problems and automate tasks with more and more sophistication. And understanding it as a tool, not as magic, is the first, most important step to using it wisely. And that leaves us with the most important question of all. The technology is going to keep advancing, that's a given. But its direction, well, that's up to us. The real story of AI isn't about the machine. As this says, it's about the choices we make, how we decide to build it, how we regulate it, and how we weave it into our society. That is what will define our future.